Another episode of Asexualized, My Asexual Life. This is a place for education about asexuality, all things asexual, and I share my own asexual life journey in order to help you in your own. If you haven't already subscribed, click to hit the great big subscribe button down below. Please hit that bell icon also next to the subscribe button so you'll get notified of every time I go live like now or post a new video. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up as we go along if you're liking this content. Now tonight this video is very, very serious. I don't know if you've been looking through comments on my channel lately, but there's a video I did a while back about a Cupioromantic. What is a Cupioromantic? And it's a bit of a taboo topic within the asexual community. And I'm really not sure why, in terms of, you know, it's very valid to me because I know someone who was Cupioromantic. And there seems to be a lot of debate about whether it's a real thing or not. I mean, asexuality is real. I'm real, so why wouldn't Cupioromantic be real? I know someone who was Cupioromantic, so I can tell you it's very, very real. And what really upset me when I read the comment on that video recently about what is a Cupioromantic, it was a matter of life or death in how they felt. So let me explain. So first of all, a Cupioromantic is someone who is in the aromantic spectrum. So when I talk about a Cupioromantic asexual person, it's a Cupioromantic is someone who's on the aromantic asexual spectrum. So they lack romantic attraction and sexual attraction. However, Cupioromantic is someone who desires a romantic relationship despite not feeling romantic attraction. Okay, I'll say that again. A Cupioromantic is someone on the aromantic spectrum, so they don't experience any romantic attraction, yet they desire a romantic relationship. Strongly desire can be the case as well. So in this particular video that I did about what is a Cupioromantic, I had a recent comment and I was really saddened by this comment and upset for the person because they replied. I was glad I did a video about it so they could reach out to me, but what was very upsetting was this person a while ago was going to commit suicide because they so strongly desired a romantic relationship despite being aromantic, and they couldn't achieve that romantic feeling that they felt life wasn't worth living anymore. Luckily, they decided at the last minute not to go through with it. Okay, so I'm really happy they're still alive. I'm really happy they decide not to go through with it. It's really, really good. However, what concerns me is a person is so intent on feeling romance feelings because they're a Cupioromantic that they now have turned to drugs, pot, in order to feel romantic. And that is what they're using to medicate themselves to make themselves feel romantic so that they can have a romantic relationship. And I know people who have taken pot, weed, drugs, and they all have a prolonged, bad, long-term effect on the body. You might not think so, but they do. My last long-term ex, before I got with him, he was heavily into drugs. And he told me what happened with them. They made him hallucinate. They made him paranoid. Like he was going out of his head. And he'd been taking them for quite a while. And, weed was something he did regularly before he finally started giving it up. And before he got with me. My other ex, one of his best friends smoked weed as well. And, he was high when I ended up speaking to him in the street. But I have to let you know that however much you think drugs don't affect you, they do affect you. They affect your brain long term as well as your body. The brain is your lifeblood. The brain is the centre of everything that makes the body work. So please just think about what you're putting into your body. I know there are other asexuals that take drugs regularly as well. You know, it's up to you what you do. You know, you're an adult, you can do what you like. But I do know for definite it has got very, very bad prolonged effects. And if you do give it up, the effects usually stay in your body for 5 years. So that should tell you a lot about drugs and what they do to you, you know, in your body. So getting on to the topic, the conversation went backwards and forwards between me and this person, and I'm genuinely concerned about them, that they feel they have to do this. You know, I don't think any relationship or potential relationship is worth changing yourself for, you know, that drastically. You know, you might have to adapt a little bit, but changing yourself like that, you know, I want you to love yourself for who you are. And you can still be in a relationship just for who you are. But obviously this person's not happy with not feeling romance. They really want it badly. And my last message to them was, romance is a skill that can be learned. So a lot of people don't seem to realise in the asexual community that if they do want to be romantic, they can be. So just like an asexual person, obviously I'm asexual, doesn't experience romantic attraction, I do, but it just because an asexual doesn't experience romantic attraction doesn't mean to say they can't learn the skill of being romantic. So they can still be romantic in terms of behaviour and in terms of learning how to think romantically without experiencing romantic attraction. Just like an asexual person who doesn't experience sexual attraction can still have sex, they can learn the skill of becoming good at how to do that with their partner, even though they don't experience the sexual attraction. These are skills that can be learned. So if there's aromantic asexuals out there, so those who lack romantic attraction, and you're happy lacking romantic attraction, it doesn't bother you, you're happy as you are, don't desire a romantic relationship, then just, you know, you don't have to watch this video. And I understand, you know, and it's great. But don't forget, if you've got an aromantic friend and they do want to be in a romantic relationship and they don't understand romance, just reach out and tell them that it's a skill that can be learned. It doesn't change your orientation, doesn't make you experience romantic attraction, but you can still learn how to be romantic. So theoretically, an aromantic asexual could be in a relationship with a romantic asexual if their behaviour was romantic enough for the romantic. If they wanted a romantic relationship, the romantic might decide that they want to be less romantic in their life and go the opposite way, more towards learning how to be less romantic. So these are all skills that can be learned. And I don't want any aromantics feeling that they're so left out of a romantic relationship that they can never have one if they want one. Because just because you don't experience romantic attraction doesn't mean to say you can't learn the behaviours and habits of romance. You see? So, and you know, there's so many books on Amazon that teach you how to be romantic. So a lot of people don't. Hi Michael, thank you for coming on. It's a really, really important topic, this video. You missed a stack load of stuff that's really important. I'll cut a long story very short to summarise for you. I had someone commenting on a Cupioromantic video. That's a Cupioromantic asexual, is someone who's on the aromantic spectrum, who desires a romantic relationship despite not being romantic. Actually, this person was an aromantic. Hi Heather. Oh, you're all late tonight, so I need to recap because this is a very, very important, serious episode and I'm part way through. So I had this video that said, well, what is a Cupioromantic? And a Cupioromantic is an aromantic that doesn't experience any romantic attraction, but they desire a romantic relationship. Okay? And I had a person on this channel, despite being aromantic, they strongly desire a romantic relationship to the point were going to kill themselves over it because they weren't you know, they weren't able to feel romance. And now the situation is they're taking drugs to enable them to feel romantic. So I am doing this very, very important video to explain to people that romance is a skill that can be learned. This person actually wasn't an aromantic asexual, they were aromantic sexual for what I see. But obviously you can get aromantic sexuals and aromantic asexuals. Aromantic sexuals are the ones that experience sexual attraction but no romantic attraction, and an aromantic asexual is someone who experiences no romantic attraction, no sexual attraction. So it's very important that you go back to the beginning of this video and look at why I'm doing this, okay? Because I don't want anyone to see anyone again comment and feel that they have to kill themselves because they can't experience romance, okay? So those people definitely exist out there, and that's why I'm doing this video, because some aromantic people, they desire strongly a romantic relationship despite not experiencing romantic attraction. And where I've got to in this video, I'm explaining that just because you don't experience romantic attraction doesn't mean to say you can't learn the skill of becoming romantic in your actions, your habits, and your behaviours. So for the people who are aromantic, I've said already, the people who are aromantic that don't want romance, that's fine. They don't need to watch this video, but it's still going to be interesting if you've got any aromantic friends who do desire to be in a romantic relationship despite not experiencing romance. And I was explaining that just like an asexual can have sex, even though they don't experience sexual attraction, they can learn how to have sex, can't they? It's a skill that can be learned. They can learn how to do different techniques. Just because they don't experience sexual attraction doesn't mean to say they can't still have it. And similarly, you know, just because a person is aromantic doesn't mean to say they can't learn the skill of romance if they want to, if they are desperate to feel romance, like this Cupioromantic person was, who commented on my video recently. So I don't want anyone feeling in life that they can't change their life and they can't get out the situation they're in and feel like dying. I don't want that in the world. I don't want people to feel that way. And I know there are a few other aromantic asexuals who do desire romance. They want to know, what does it feel like to be romantic? What do I do? How do I behave? Just like asexuals have come to me and said, I don't know what I'm doing with sex. If I want to try it, help me. And I need to write a book on that. I'll probably write a book on romance as well, because I'm like the queen of romance, aren't I? I'm a hyper romantic. It was a book I thought about writing a long time ago anyway, but there are books already out on Amazon. You know, this is what I mean. Not everyone is naturally romantic. You know, just because, you know, even people that don't call themselves aromantics, you know, there are still a lot of people out there in the world that don't know how to be romantic, and they want to be romantic to improve their relationships. There's a lot of, you know, like heterosexuals, for example, they don't understand romance. They haven't been brought up in a romantic environment with their parents. They haven't learnt that skill. So romance is a skill that can be learnt, just like sex is a skill that can be learnt, just like anything is a skill that can be learnt if you want to learn it. So I just want to make that clear, and this is why I'm doing this video, because it's so important for the few people that are really strongly want a romantic relationship. I mean, a lot of asexuals are aromantics. That's the majority of them. And I do know there'll be some that do desire to be in a romantic relationship, or they'll desire to be with a person who isn't aromantic, and they may feel that they want to learn how to be romantic so that they can have a more so that they can, I don't know, fulfill the romantic needs of the other person more, despite not being romantically attracted. Some asexuals, like I said, you know, I'm a personally sex repulsed asexual, but not everyone's like me. Some asexuals want to please their partner and want to learn how to have sex and want to do that. You know, because they just want to do it as an activity. They want to please their partner. They want to learn the different techniques, you know. So similarly, you know, a person can learn a lot of different things. It doesn't have to be like, you know, like maths and English. You know, it can be you can learn anything. There's so many books on Amazon learning how to be romantic. But romance, you know, people might, I also know in my groups, people are like, well, what does romance feel like? I mean, romance feels like, you know, like butterflies. Talking is romantic with partner. Yes, exactly. I mean, romance is really a concept how the person perceives it. But there's certain generic things that you can do to be romantic, certain things that are well known to be romantic. But at the end of the day, you know, romance is also very individual. Like, I can find things romantic that the average person probably wouldn't, because I'm hyper romantic and I see the romance in the majority of things, you know. But a romantic feeling is so say I felt romance over someone, right? If I was feeling romance over someone, I'd be thinking about them a lot. In my case, I'll have no desire to change. Yeah, I know, Michael, it's good. I'm doing this video because someone wanted to kill themselves. If you look back through the comments on the Cupioromantic video, someone said they nearly took their life because they're Cupioromantic and strongly desired so much to have a romantic relationship that they almost killed themselves. And now they're taking drugs to force themselves to be romantic because they're a Cupioromantic, so strongly desire a romantic relationship. And so, you know, that's why I'm doing this video. Oh yeah, you didn't mean anything by it. Yeah, that's right, Michael, thank you. Yeah, because I knew this video you probably wouldn't be exactly appropriate for you, because I know you don't want to change, which, you know, I'm not telling aromantics to change. I think everyone should be happy with who they are, you know, and they shouldn't change for anyone. I hope I've made that clear on this video as well, because I don't want any aromantics thinking I don't love them for who they are, because I do. I've got aromantic friends, you know, and I don't want them to change themselves. But for the people who are like, oh, I'm really upset, I can't feel romance, I don't get it, I don't know how to be romantic, or they want a relationship with maybe an asexual that's romantic and they want to learn that skill and learn the signals of what romance is, then, you know, this video is kind of like trying to help those people. But you might know some friends like it as well, so it can always help. And even if they're not aromantic, you know, some romantic people aren't romantic enough, and they need to learn how to be more romantic, you know, like heterosexuals. A lot of them, you know, you'll find that a lot of their wives, for example, they'll say their partner's not romantic enough with them, you know, because in the heterosexual world and different gender sort of history, men tend to love women more physically and women tend to love men more emotionally. This is how it works in society, with conventional feelings. So a man will more likely to want more sex, a woman will more likely to want the kissing, the cuddling, the touching, all that type of thing. Do you see what I mean? So a lot of the guy will a lot of the time will be less romantic. I wish that person wouldn't kill themselves. People matter. They're not killing themselves. They nearly did. But the fact is they are taking drugs, pot. So, you know, they could end up, they're really harming their body, obviously, their mind. I mean, I was trying to explain, you'll have to watch the rest of the video, but my ex, before I got with him, he used to take a lot of drugs. And so I know the effects it had on him, because I was his friend before I got with him, and I wasn't with him while he was doing that. He stopped doing that to be with me. But I know the effects it had on him and what stuff he used to say. He used to trip out and hallucinate and, you know, off weed. You know, people think, oh, weed, it's fine. I can take that, you know. It's nothing of a problem, but there is a huge problem with it. So, you know, I don't recommend. I'm personally against drugs. I don't agree with them, but there are, you know, there are harmful effects. So, you know, I just have to say stuff like this on this channel. I have to, you know, I tackle hard-hitting topics that people don't want to deal with, you know. I mean, the title of this is, that's why I put the title is, can an aromantic be romantic if they want, if they you know, want to be, learn how to be romantic if they want to be. And I wanted to put the title so I didn't want to offend any aromantics, but obviously I want people to know that it's a skill that can be learned. And so I don't want people feeling like they have to, you know, do things that's going to harm them in order to be a certain way. For one, I think everyone should just be themselves in life and should just not, you know, like, try and change themselves for other people and for situations that's not suitable for them. But at the same time, you know, people do want to change in life. That's why there's courses, that's why there's schools and colleges and universities, you know, can learn loads of different types of skills. Just you don't usually learn many life skills at those type of places. Yeah, it is sad. So, you know, I'm here, I've learned, you know, my own personal and professional development journey since 2012. I've learned a lot of stuff, which is what I talk on this channel about, a lot of development stuff, which people don't usually talk about on other asexual channels. This channel's very different. I try and teach you techniques for personal and professional development mixed in with asexuality. I don't know if you noticed that, but that's why my channel's very different to other people. So I may not like have a huge subscriber base compared to everyone else, but I'm very specific in my audience on here that want to learn things about life and about asexuality and lots of different things at the same time. So, you know, to be, if I'm feeling romantic over a friend, some people are like, I don't get romance. I don't understand what it feels like. So for me, I mean, obviously everyone's different. For me, if I feel romance for someone, I'm strongly attracted to them, like being around them. I want to spend a lot of time with them. I want to talk to them a lot. I get butterflies in my tummy maybe if I'm really aesthetically attracted to them. If I'm not aesthetically attracted to them, but I'm romantically attracted to them, I might get like a little, oh, that's nice, I can't wait to see them. But for me, I can separate all different attractions, so it's quite strange. So yeah, romance is like, you know, and if I was, you know, I'd feel like holding their hand, and I'd feel like kissing them. I feel like, you know, like walking, I don't know, under the stars with them, and you know, it's kind of like I'd feel warm and cozy. And if it was the right person, they would. I love how you talk about how you love yourself. Oh, thank you, Heather. Yeah, I do. I really do love myself. That's really nice. I hope it comes across as I want people to love themselves on this channel. That's what I really like, teaching people how to love themselves. I'm very good at doing that compared to what I used to be. Like, I'm really good at, I've noticed that lately. And a lot of time lately, I'm spending more time with myself, actually. A lot more time with myself. I took a walk today. It was nearly an hour. God, I don't really do much walking, but I thought I need some exercise, so I went out. It was a lot. But yeah, it was quite dark as well. It was a bit scary. I had to go over this bridge that was moving over the water. I've heard of a swing bridge, but that's like, boom, I'm like, oh my God, it's moving. Help. But anyway, I digress. But yeah, so, you know, like, that's what it kind of romance feels like to me. It feels like a warm, fuzzy feeling. Like, it feels like that person I'm particularly drawn to more than others. And that I want to spend more time with them. And I'd love to cuddle them. Obviously, if I'm aesthetically attracted to them, I want to kiss them as well and be more intimate. If I'm feeling romance, for example, for one of my friends, you know, I've told you I'm a hyper-romantic, so I can get some romantic notion from my friends. It depends the degree of romantic notion. If it's just a little bit of romantic notion, it's kind of like, I kind of think, well, if they're so sweet and what they're saying is really nice and I really care about them, drawn to their personality, I can feel like, you know, like stroking their hair or cuddling them. If it's like someone like foreign who I'm aesthetically attracted to, would want a relationship with, then I would like to stroke their hair, kiss them passionately on the lips, hold them really tight close to my body but with clothes on, and be really, you know, passionately kissing them. So the romance and aesthetics are different to me. They can be both together, or I can separate them, which I didn't used to be able to do. So my asexuality is a journey of discovery about yourself, and I don't think you ever stop discovering more and more. Like, I keep discovering more and more things about myself. I'm like, you know, I'm like, how I didn't know till the first time I started separating aesthetic attraction from romantic attraction, I think was 2015. It was, well, actually, that year was the first time I experienced intelligence attraction. And if people learned how to love themselves, the world would be a better place. Oh, thank you, Heather. Yeah, thumbs up to that. Yeah. Yeah, it's true. You need to love yourself for who you are. That's why I don't want people to change. I don't want people to watch this video and think they've got to change. But I need to help the people who want to change, you know. And everyone does have to change to a certain extent in life, because if they don't, they'll just be bored and change will be thrust upon them. So in life, if you don't change yourself, you'll have other people constantly trying to change you. And the best thing you can possibly do for your own life is change yourself for the better forever, whilst loving yourself. The bits you love about yourself don't change, you know. But if there's anything you want to change it, you know, career, or, you know, career, job, house, friends, what you read, what you listen to, you know, you can change all those things to make your life feel more happier, vibrant, energetic, positive. Do you know what I mean? You can, you know, you should be wanting to do some changes with yourself to improve yourself. You know, if I didn't want to improve myself at all, I would still be depressed by now, really, because I was depressed for years. And it's only because I went to a seminar that changed the way I felt about myself in 2012, and the mindset changed when I had fibro then, and my life just completely changed, and I just carried on changing myself, because I found, like, as an anxious person, the worst thing that can happen is when change happens to me. And it used to keep happening all the time, and I used to be so worked up and worried. But now I make change happen for me rather than change happening to me as much as possible. My life is so much more stable because I'm in control of it. Yes, there'll still be things that come up that are unexpected, but the majority of the time I'm the one creating the change. I'm the one in control of it. So therefore my life's a lot more stable and I have less anxiety. It's reduced. So anyone who's, you know, watching this video, you know, you don't have to change yourself for someone else, but you should want to change yourself for you. You should always want to be improving yourself and your life, unless you think you're totally happy with your life and with yourself and you don't need to do that, then you don't have to. But, you know, personally, I always believe I can get better. I always believe, I know I'm not perfect, I'll never be a perfect person, but I love myself despite my imperfections, you see, and that's what you've got to get into a stage of loving yourself with all your imperfections and any weaknesses. You either change them into strengths, or you work on them, or you accept them for what they are, you know, and who you are. Because everyone, you know, some people's weaknesses are actually their greatest strengths. And what can be a weakness in one scenario would be a great strength in others. And you have to also understand that a lot of people can tell you things about yourself, and they can point weaknesses out that's their opinion of you, not your own. For example, if someone thinks, I've had people in my past, close people, that thought I talk too much. Well, I love the way I talk. I like the art form of talking. I will always be a talker. I'm not going to stop talking for them. If they don't want to be around me because I'm talking, fine, go away, and I'll be around friends who love to talk and adore talking. Because I know there's quite a few out there, people who just want to chat to people, and they're like, you know, oh my goodness, I just want to pick up the phone, or I just want to text, or I just want to Skype, or I just want to, you know, like, speak to someone, you know. You know, where people don't like me speaking a lot, there's thousands of people out there that are lonely that would love to talk for a couple of hours to someone non-stop, you know what I mean, chit chat backwards and forwards, because they don't have anyone. So do you see what I mean? What one person cannot like about you is what they don't like about you. It doesn't mean to say it's actually a weakness in you. So you have to understand that things are not necessarily weaknesses. Just like for example, if you are an aromantic watching this and someone doesn't like the fact that you are who you are and you're not romantic, that's their problem. It's not your problem. If you're happy being aromantic, which is your orientation, you can't help anyway, then you don't have to change that for anyone. You are who you are and be happy with that, you know? I think it's great. I think the benefit of being an aromantic is you know, don't have the relationship drama necessarily if you are the person that doesn't want a relationship. However, like I said, this video is about people that are aromantics that may want a relationship, a romantic relationship, and they want to know how to be romantic. So there are certain, you know, there's a lot of books out on Amazon if you are looking to learn how to be romantic, because maybe you've met a romantic asexual person, they're really right for you, you love loads of things about them, and maybe you think, I want to learn this romance thing, you know, because I want to know what it feels like, because you desire that in yourself, not because you've met this person and want to fit in just for the sake of it, for feeling loved, because that's not the right thing to do. If you're lacking love, like Heather was talking about to me, loving myself, it's really important you love yourself first, because if you don't love yourself first, then you'll want to be romantic for all the wrong reasons, because you'll want the love from the person. You'll think the only way you can get that love is if you be romantic with them. And if that's the case, then they don't really love you for you, and that's not good, you know? So if you want to learn romance as a skill, you can learn romance as a skill, but it doesn't change your orientation, doesn't make you feel romantic attraction for someone. So, you know, but what type of things might be romantic then? So, you know, romantic, so I believe a lot of aromantic asexuals are actually romantic and they don't realise it. So you might learn through books or through me watching this channel that there are certain things that you do as an aromantic asexual that's actually romantic, but you don't think about it like that. And romance, really, a lot of it is a very mindset thing. It's a feeling and a mindset, you know? So say I was with an aromantic friend, right? And we had a meal, and there was candles on the table, the lights were low, beautiful music. That would be a romantic setting, right? But I might just be out with an aromantic friend and I'm not in a relationship with them, but the setting and environment's romantic. They are in a romantic setting, which kind of makes them a bit romantic in the sense that they are in that romantic environment. But actual fact, they're not romantic themselves. Do you see what I'm saying? So the environment's romantic. So you can be romantic by making and creating a romantic environment for the person and you. If you're taking a moonlit stroll and you're hand in hand with that person, and you know the moon's beaming down and the stars are in the sky, and you know, like, say you have a kiss. Obviously, if you're aromantic, you might not want to kiss, so you know you'd have to establish that. If you don't, a lot of romantic people do desire to kiss, so a lot of aromantics don't, but there are a few that do. There's someone on my asexualized page who is an aromantic sexual, and they love kissing and cuddling and the touchy stuff. You know, they're, like I said, they're an aromantic sexual, not asexual, but their husband was shocked at how much she loves doing that thing. So just because you're aromantic doesn't mean to say that you can't be romantic in behaviour. Like, I'm an asexual person, as you know. I don't want sex, but when I kiss, it's very sexual in behaviour. That doesn't mean to say I experience sexual attraction. These are sensual, though. Sensual is touching, but touching can also be sexual as well. So, you know, it's a perception. You know, if I, for example, said to a heterosexual, I like touching a guy all over his body, he would think that's a sexual act, touching all over the body if you include the private parts as well. Yet if you speak to someone else, touching all their body, they can say, well, that's sensual because you like the feel of it. So, do you know what I mean? It's a perception as well. I mean, I think sensual would be probably less of the private areas and more of the, like, head, shoulders, back, that type of thing, touching on the arm, touching on the shoulders. I would think that's more sensual than sexual. But, you know, it's a perception. And like I said, romance is a perception as well, because I could be with an aromantic and I could be feeling romance from them, even though they're not consciously aware that their behaviour is romantic. I can think it is. Like, so for example, like Heather says, if you talk to your partner a lot, that's romantic. So I could have an aromantic person who is theoretically my partner. I don't think it would ever happen with me because I love kissing. So unless I met an aromantic person that just happened to absolutely adore the act of kissing just for the act of it, because they loved the feeling of it, like exercise, it made them feel good, adrenaline rush, then I don't think I could be with an aromantic because I need the kissing. If I had found an aromantic person that adored kissing, like the person on my asexual page, I told you that it's a woman though. Obviously I don't want a woman, and she's married to a guy who's heterosexual because she's an aromantic sexual, not aromantic asexual, but she is into kissing and cuddling big time. So if I found an aromantic person like that, theoretically it'd be fine for me to be with an aromantic person because, you know, I strongly desire the kissing, the cuddling and that type of thing. And like I said, just because I'm asexual, like if I passionately kiss a guy, I make the breathing noises like I'm having sex, even though I'm not. I have no desire to have sex with a guy whatsoever, but my behaviour is sexual. So just because I'm exhibiting sexual behaviour like that doesn't mean to say it's changed my orientation. I still don't experience sexual attraction. I still don't want sex with the person. And equally, there could be a few aromantics out there who act like they're doing romantic things. They act romantically even though they're not consciously aware that that's what romance is like. They're not they're not pretending to be romantic, they're just being themselves, but they happen to be perceived by the person who's in that relationship with them as a romantic person because their behaviour comes across as romantic, even though the aromantic doesn't believe that themselves. Do you see what I'm saying? Behaviour is kind of not all just what you see. It's a perception in the other person's mind of how they view you. So people can look at certain behaviour in different ways. Like, I'm sure there's a lot of people in everyday situations, like someone could hold the door open for someone, right? Say a man opened the door for a woman. Years ago, that used to be very traditionally good. It used to be very much etiquette, right? Some women these days hate that. They're like, oh, well, he's a male chauvinistic so-and-so. He thinks I can't open the door for myself. See, it's a perception. Whereas other women would love that. Be like, oh, what a gentleman. How lovely. What manners he's got. How brilliant. Because it's a perception. That person's behaviour is a perception. It's how the other person perceives them. And this is what I'm saying, that some aromantics can be naturally romantic to a romantic person. The romantic person can perceive them as being romantic, despite the aromantic feeling no romantic attraction and not actually thinking in terms of romance. Aromantic could consciously teach themselves how to become romantic in behaviour if they wanted to. They don't have to. I'm saying if they want to, if they're one of those ones that strongly desires to be romantic. So all these things are skills that can be learned, and I don't want anyone feeling in life that they can't learn the skills they need to change their life and turn it around if they want to. I don't want any people to feel trapped in the person they are, because we can all transform ourselves, we can all change ourselves, we can all become different people if we want to. I'm very different to the person I was years ago. Very, very different in many aspects of my life. Very different. I was old before my time back then. As a kid, I had short hair. I wasn't allowed to have long hair. I was very shy and quiet and reserved and didn't speak to anyone. I couldn't be in groups. I could only talk one-to-one with one person at one time. I used to feel left out in groups. I didn't like my life. I didn't like myself very much. I used to think about death and dying. My life has completely changed. Now I don't. Now I want to live. Now I'm happy. Now I'm single. Now I'm free. Now I'm loving life. I'm young for my birth certificate age now. I've gone the opposite way. I live like a teenager and love it. I get to do all the beautiful things that a teenager would do, like theme parks and zoos and aquariums. I get to, have the best of me. I'm not depressed anymore. I never want to die. I want to live to be at least 100 or more. And so you can change your life however you want to change it. You don't have to feel that you're ever stuck, because you can learn skills. I've learned skills as in how to love myself skills. Learning how to love yourself is a skill we're not taught, a lot of us, from an early age, because a lot of the time, the people closest to us, sadly, are the ones that make us feel the least amount of love a lot of the time, unless you're very fortunate to have grown up with a lot of loving family and extended family and friends as you grew up, But if you've been bullied, or if you've had people that don't understand you in your life, especially close family or friends or, relatives, then it can take its toll on you. So don't think ever in your life that you can't change it around. You can't change it if you want to. You can, and you can become whatever you want to become, A lot of it is to do with the mind, and you have to retrain the brain. I believe you can pretty much learn any type of skills in your mind, A lot of it is to do with perception. And really, I learned in my entrepreneurial journey that nothing has meaning other than the meaning you give it. Which means that is why people see a same situation in completely different ways. I've seen situations in ways that are different to other people. Like, I've seen someone come into my group, my asexual group, a long time ago, and what they were saying I thought was really bad, really rude, very ignorant of the other people in the group, and I actually removed them from the group because I didn't like their attitude and they were upsetting a lot of people. Yet someone else said, oh, I don't think they meant it like that, I think they meant it like this, So it's a perception, and I listened to what they said, but overall I knew this person was upsetting the majority of the group, so I took them out because I'm not having that, But it doesn't mean to say that, you know, the other person's perception wasn't right and mine was incorrect by what they meant. But seeing as a lot of other people were feeling a similar thing, then, you know, I have to go with what majority of the perception is and what my own is for my group, because I'm a manager of my group, you know. It's like when you walk into a shop, you have to run your shop to the best of your ability with what you've got in it and with your, you know, situation. And that's like anything in life. You have to run your life with the skills you've got, but you have to gain new skills when you need to change your life. And that's what I'm saying, that if you want to learn romance you can learn. But you might also, if you're an aromantic asexual, for example, and you come across a romantic asexual, and you're thinking about a relationship with them, you could talk to them and see if the romantic person actually finds you romantic, even though you don't find yourself romantic. I've got an aromantic friend, right? And when I talk to him, I feel romance loads because he is aesthetically attractive to me. He's very, very super intelligent. And if he talks to me a lot, then I'm feeling romance, because to me, talking to someone a lot is forging a very strong emotional connection. And to me, an emotional connection is essential to romance. I can't feel romance with a person I've got no emotional connection with. No emotional connection, no romance. They do go hand in hand. I've never experienced emotional I've never experienced romance without an emotional connection. I'm trying to think now if I ever have, you know, because I can separate all different types of attractions. But, you know, I'm talking about an emotional connection with someone. So that's why I only tend to feel romance, obviously, for people I'm aesthetically attracted to, like foreign guys. I can feel romance quite quickly for those, a lot of them, because I just really want to kiss them and be with them. But for example, British friends, you know, if I have a really strong, deep emotional connection with them, it creates some romance within me, because romance, for me, is emotional connection and romance kind of go hand in hand. They're connected. I couldn't be in an actual romantic relationship with someone I'm not emotionally connected to, because there'd be a disconnect there. I just feel like empty space. I'm like, I can't reach you. You're unobtainable. I can't connect with you, you know? And I've had a guy a long time ago in one of my groups, asexual groups, dating group it was, and he's foreign actually. And he came along and started talking to me in private message, talked to me a little bit, didn't hear from him again for weeks, and then came on again saying, oh, I'm sorry, I'm not feeling it. No, I don't think we'd be suitable for a relationship. I mean, of course he's not feeling it. I'm not feeling it, because he didn't bother speaking to me again after that. You know, if you want to be in a relationship with someone, you need to emotionally connect with them and bare your soul to them and share secrets with them. You know, obviously do it safely when you can trust them, not straight away bare everything. But do you know what I mean? It's all about sharing secrets and trusting each other. If you haven't got that, then your relationship's not likely to last or be very, very deep or meaningful, you know? So just bear in mind that if you're aromantic, that you might actually be romantic, you know? So, for example, if I was with an aromantic person and I went out for a meal, you could just be two friends having a meal. But if I was feeling romance towards a person, then I could think the setting's romantic, you know? And a lot of romance is really similar scenarios to every day, but just there's a different slant on it because of how you feel for the person. So, like I said, I can have my meals out with loads of friends. It's like, I'm not a lesbian, right? I don't find women attractive at all. And I can be out having a meal with my friend. I can be out dancing with her, having a great night with her, but I don't feel any romance because I'm not romantically attracted to her. You know, I don't get romantically attracted to women at all, ever. But, you know, it put me in a scenario where I'm with a guy and maybe I find him really aesthetically attractive and I'm out for a meal with him in the evening. I'd think that's a romantic thing. And, you know, we're going out dancing together. That's romantic because I'm getting close to him. You know, obviously with my female friend, I'm not getting too close to her. We have been a bit close, actually. When people are squashed in a place, but you know, not intentionally being really close to each other because you want to be bodily close. Do you know what I mean? So, sit in an intimate way. So, you know, if I go out dancing with a guy, you know, especially if I know he likes me more than a friend, then that's like romance. Obviously, if I'm going out with a friend and, for example, maybe I'm going out with an asexual friend, and I know that he's not romantically attracted to me or interested in a relationship with me, then I could be out with him clubbing, but me and him have got distance between our bodies, so we're not intimate together. Like he's there, I'm there, and when our body language, so romance, there's a lot of body language, like when you're really close to someone physically, maybe your hands are nearly touching, maybe your cheeks are nearly touching when you're sat together, maybe you're looking at each other into each other's eyes, but it's the way you look at each other, it's a body language is romantic. But put yourself in a scenario with just you and a friend, you'll be like keeping a bit more distance. Like, so when I was with my friend the other day, I noticed one point, when he was sat next to me, his body was turned more towards himself, which means that's because he's not coming into me, because he's not romantically attracted to me, or he's not trying to be. Do you know what I mean? He's separate. There's a little bit of body space at an angle. So, you can tell the difference between someone, like, if I had a guy who wanted to be in a relationship with me, he'd been close to me like this and coming near me, right? Really close. But if I've got a friend, then his body's further apart from mine. So it's romance is to do with like the environment you're in, how you feel about the other person, how you perceive they feel about you, and how you perceive you feel about them. It's about how close you get physically to the person, how close you get mentally to the person and emotionally to the person. There's a lot to romance, Some people class sex as romance. I don't really class it as romance, but if I do a romantic book, so if I do a romantic book for asexuals, it's a bit different. But if I do a romantic book and it's to do with the whole population, I've looked at romance books on Amazon because I need to compare my ideas of romance to them. And they will say that, when you're having sex or making love, that there will be more sensual stuff in it. There'll be more touching and a lot more foreplay stuff before the actual act of sex, because they'll consider that more romantic, like a massage with oils, for example. Obviously, as an asexual person, you can do massage with oils with your partner with no sex. So that can be a romantic thing. You've got their backs and you're massaging them with different aromatherapy oils. That can be very sensual and romantic at the same time, because sensual and romance can go together in that sense, because it can be all the smells can feel romantic because they can feel really nice and warm and fruity, and you're massaging the person you'll feel attracted to, and you can be stroking a person's hair. That can be romantic. Like if I'm in a relationship with a guy and he's cuddling me and he strokes my hair like this, I find it really beautiful. It's like, oh, it's so romantic, because I feel like I feel like a teenage girl, I guess, and which I am anyway. But, it's just like, oh, it's just so nice. Like, that is sensual, obviously. So I'm sensual. I have some sensual attraction, but mine's the upper body. So if I was with a guy, I'd like to stroke his hair and kiss his lips and kiss his nose and kiss his cheeks and kiss his forehead and kiss all around his face and kiss his neck and kiss his ear and kiss his arms. So I have and I like touching the hair and face and nose and lips and like upper body, but below the waist I'm not interested in. So I kind of have not full on sensual attraction, because I don't want to do that to the whole body, but I do have the upper part of the body like that. So I like touching my guy, a lot, like holding him tight, mine. And, I want you to know that romance is kind of a perception. It's to do with behaviour, environments, the thoughts, your habits. So, for example, a habit might be, say you're living with someone and you want to be romantic with them. You might wake up in the morning and you might go and make them breakfast in bed. That's considered a romantic gesture, You're thinking about them, you're caring about them, you've made them food so they don't have to do it themselves. And if you want to add more romance in there, you'd put something like a rose. You'd buy them a bunch of roses or something and put the rose there, or maybe you'd pick a rose from the garden, snip it off and put it on their tray, or you might write a little love note. Right, you might write a love note with their breakfast if it was a cold breakfast and you had to go to work and rush off, or you might leave a little note. You might leave a little note under their pillow and write another note near the door saying, "Look under your pillow." You might write little love notes. You might write love texts to each other. It's basically, romance is about making the other person feel special, feel good, feel like extra special to anyone else in your life. Making them feel like top priority, making them feel like they're beautiful inside and out, really being positive with them, inspiring them to be the best of themselves, being, like really motivating them to be happy, like, what am I saying? Boosting their self-esteem. So, like praising them is so important. Praising is like a romantic thing because you're making them feel good. If a person's feeling good around you, they're more likely to feel romantic around you, more likely to want to be around you, to kiss you and to cuddle you and to hug you and to touch you because you're making them feel so good. So obviously as an aromantic, if you don't experience any romantic attraction, you could still be doing a lot of this with your partner and not even feeling any romance, but the other person could feel romance for you doing this stuff with them. But aromantic asexuals are perfectly capable, if they wanted to be in a relationship, of making breakfast for their partner and putting some roses on there. Do you know what I mean? It's not that, it doesn't change their orientation and make them have romantic attraction, but they can think, oh, that's a romantic gesture. Yeah, I know they'd like that. I'm going to do that for them. And their partner would be feeling romance, and they'd be feeling that they are romantic. They would be feeling that the aromantic person was a romantic person by that gesture. And they would be feeling romance backwards and forwards between the two of you, even though you're not actually experiencing romantic attraction. So you can learn all these things, I mean, love notes are really sweet. Poetry, some aromantics could write poetry and they could write a love poem, because they like writing poetry and they're like, oh, my partner I want to write her a love poem, or him a love poem, or they, them a love poem, I'll write a love poem. It doesn't mean to say that it's changed their orientation, because it hasn't, but that's a romantic gesture. They're being romantic, so their romantic partner, if it was romantic partner, would perceive them as being romantic and think that's really romantic. And they'd be feeling romance between you and them, even though you're not romantically attracted to them. Do you see what I mean? It's a perception, it's behaviours and habits that can be learnt. You can make them breakfast in bed every day. They might they might take you a bit for granted, which I wouldn't want them to do. But, some people, I've known a woman at work a long time ago. She's not asexual, but she was on about, she was an older woman and she'd met this older guy who, they'd fallen in love, and she's had some not great relationships in the past, and she's always wonderful. Gets up every morning and makes my breakfast, breakfast in bed every single day, and she found that really, really lovely, so there's nothing to stop you doing that as a aromantic asexual person for your romantic partner, if you want to be with romantic partner. If it's Valentine's Day and you do want to celebrate it together, a romantic person will usually want to celebrate it, the majority of them, not all of them, because some people have a view that it's too commercialized, but a really romantic person like myself usually doesn't care about commercialism. We want the romance. We want the extra special day to be extra special, and I don't see it like that anyway. Personally, I don't see it at Valentine's Day as commercialism. You could say that about Easter, you could say that about Christmas, you could say that about anything in life, As far as I'm concerned, Valentine's Day, if people are making money, fine. That means they're putting money around the economy. They're bringing more jobs to people's lives. They're keeping people in work. So what? I don't mind people earning money through Valentine's cards or anything like that. Christmas cards, Easter cards. Why should I not celebrate Valentine's Day just and be cynical because people are earning money out of stuff like that? They'll earn money out of everything. People, you go to supermarkets, you eat food, people are still making a profit out of that. There's no difference, just that it means that you're doing something romantic with your partner that's wonderful and making them very, very happy usually, which the food will go in and out and down the loo. That happiness, that loving gesture that you made this morning, my God, they could be on cloud 9 for like years, if you've bought them a beautiful present and they're sat looking at a gorgeous teddy bear with a beautiful heart and it's been sat on their mantelpiece for like 5 years. Every time they look at it, they'll be thinking about you and how wonderful you are and beautiful. That piece of bread that you went and got from the supermarket, it went in one end, out the other in the loo, and you never saw it again or got any credit for it years later. So again, people perceive things completely different ways, I don't perceive things like that. I have no problem with people making money out of with love, It's better than making it out of death, but people make it out of death with funeral plans and all that type of thing, don't they? So, I'm quite happy to celebrate Valentine's Day, if I was in a relationship, I celebrated being single this year, as you know, as I usually do on International Celebrate Being Single Day. But say it was Valentine's Day, you know, and my aromantic partner, say I had a aromantic partner theoretically, they could give me a teddy bear, like I just said, with a heart, and I'd find that very romantic. Flowers is a romantic gesture. Chocolates, but I can't eat a lot of chocolate, obviously, because I've got allergies. But if they found out certain chocolates I could eat, or ice cream, my favourite sugar-free, wheat-free, gluten-free ice cream, they bought me a little tub of ice cream for Valentine's Day, I mean, I'd be like, whoa, this is great, you know? And say they bought me a single rose and took me out to the cinema for a meal, I'd be like, oh my God, this is so romantic. Do you know what I mean? Because it's just like, it's those gestures that make you feel special, that make you feel cute and cuddly and on cloud nine, and just make you feel so great, you know? I mean, I'm used to giving myself, usually on International Celebrate Being Single Day, things like flowers and hearts and sparkly things, and you know, and it doesn't have to be that day. I can give them all year round, but obviously I haven't got the money to give them all year round, which is why when a special day comes up, I want to go that extra mile for myself, you know? Like, I always go out of my city for International Celebrate Being Single Day. I don't have the money to do that all year round. You know, people say to me, oh, well, I don't need to celebrate our love in our relationship because you know, we're always celebrating. Well, is that actually true? Do you go out for meals every single day? Do you go out to cinema every single day? You know, you can celebrate it, yeah, as in you're feeling for the person. But there's no harm in throwing an extra celebration for them and doing something even more above and beyond. I always like to push myself. I always like to go above and beyond, you know. When I told someone, well, I've told a couple of people have found out this channel I'm live streaming on every single day. They cannot believe it. They're like, you're live streaming every single day. One person's like, you're 10xing what everyone else does. I mean, I'm doing 10 times what everyone else does on their YouTube channels. They said, they looked at it, they weren't asexual, by the way, they looked through the link I showed them, they were like, my goodness, you're 10xing it all, meaning you're doing, like, more than anyone else they know, you know? So I like to go full on out, you know? I don't play small when I really want to do something. I mean, on my other channels, I'm not on there all the time, and actually, in fact, I kind of, I guess, neglect those a little bit, because I'm so focused on this channel, because you're my main audience that I adore. I feel natural when I do this channel. I've got so much to help you with that I just feel like I need to help you guys the most, because I just feel in tune with you. I feel like I've got the most amount of information to be able to give to you that's different to what you'll usually hear about asexuality. You know, it's not exactly the norm, and I can help you so much, and because you're like me, we can really relate to each other, whereas obviously on other channels it's a bit different, and I haven't really found my niches as much as I found here. Here's very natural to me. Things come to me. I keep writing stuff down to talk about, because the majority of the time I have so much to say, and I'm like, I've got to leave that for another episode. I've got to leave that for another episode. But I knew today would be a big one, and it's an important one, because I want people to know that if there are aromantics and they do want a romantic relationship, or want to be in a relationship with a romantic person, they want to, you know, like, do romantic gestures and learn romance, that it's a skill that can be learned. And I don't want people to go away in life crushing themselves and feeling horrible about themselves if they want to be romantic and they don't know how. You know, there's tons of books on Amazon. I'm sure I'll write my own one day. I think the list of all the books I want to write is getting huger and huger. You know, I keep thinking of all these books I want to do, but I'm doing other stuff at the moment. I've got my fibro book I still need to get out, but I haven't done that yet. So I'm still saving up for the printer. I still need a bit more money for that. So, yeah, if you want to donate to this channel, please donate below on the PayPal button. But, yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope this video has been useful, helpful and insightful for you. If it has, please give it a thumbs up. I'd love to hear your comments below. If you've got any questions in the meantime between this video and another video, if you want more videos about romance, if you're out there feeling stuck, then please, you know, like, you can drop me a comment below and I will try and do another video. I've covered quite a lot of stuff. Thank you, Michael, so much for tuning in. Thank you, Heather. Thank you for the other person who's been watching all along. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you find it useful, helpful or insightful anyway. I hope it's been good. I hope it's been educational, because people probably didn't think that romance can be a skill that can be learned just like anything else. So I love you lots, and I will see you on the next video. If you haven't already subscribed, hit the great big subscribe button, hit that bell icon so you get notified every time I go live like now or post a new video. And don't forget the thumbs up. Love you. Take care.